Hey everybody, I'm John and this is Blind Whiskey Reviews. Hey everybody, and thank you so much for joining me today here on Blind Whiskey Reviews, the most honest reviews on YouTube. Today we're reviewing the Elijah Craig Small Batch. This is a great whiskey, good everyday drinker, great price, so I'm super excited to do this one for you. And I just want to take a second to ask you guys, if you haven't already watched my video from last week when I reviewed Booker's, I put up 2 polls, because it would only let me put 5 whiskeys per poll, so there's a total of 10 whiskeys on these 2 polls that I want to do a high proof side by side and see if I can use my finely honed blind reviewing skills and pick out which whiskey's which. But I want you guys to pick the whiskeys and pick your favorites. So if you haven't already, I'll link it up here. Go ahead, jump back to the Booker's review, click on the window, pull down the polls, quickly vote. You can vote once on each poll, so you can vote for 2 of your favorite whiskeys out of that list. That way I know which ones you guys want to see. So if you can do that for me, I'd really appreciate it. And without any more waiting, let's get to the review. All right, let's get into the whiskey. Start with the color. This is another darker one. We're going into that mahogany color. It's like a really dark amber. Nice dark color to it. On the nose, it's got a big, deep, dark nose. It's big, like molasses, brown sugar, dark brown sugar, plum, fig. It's sweet, but a lot of that sweetness doesn't come forward. It's like this deep sweetness to it. A little fruity, a little bit of that kind of caramel brown sugar. Smells good. Let's give it a taste. Cheers. Flavors on the palate, kind of reminiscent of what we were getting on the nose. Very dark, deep, sweet, but not overly so. First sip, nothing's really standing out to me. There's not something that's like taking over and coming up front. It's kind of a mixture of all these things. Doesn't feel like there's too high of alcohol. You know, maybe I'm feeling like we're over 80 proof, maybe we're around 90-ish. Yeah, more of the same. Front of the tongue is like those deep fruits. The fig, the plum. Towards the middle and back of the palate, we're kind of switching more to that sweet, dark brown sugar, molasses kind of character. This is another whiskey where I'm not really picking up anything that would suggest to me that it's been in a barrel for a long time. Doesn't really have any woody notes that I'm picking up on for the most part. These not forward ones. There's a touch of bitterness on the back end, like that wood bitterness, but not really any defined like wood characters. Get one more sip here. On this sip, I did pick up a little bit of woodiness. On the back end, towards the mid palate, when I took a little air in with the whiskey, it brought forward like a woody character to it. Again, it doesn't feel very high proof. Like I said, I'm feeling like in that 90 to 95 range. I do have a little bit of a tingle in my mouth. I didn't really get much going down the chest. It's kind of a medium mouthfeel. It sticks around for a little bit. Doesn't linger too long. It starts to die down relatively quickly. We'll add a little bit of water, see if we get any more characters coming out. Quick swirl. I mean, at this point, I didn't really change the nose, I don't feel like at all. Didn't change the palate too much either. Definitely brought a little bit of the heat down. I think it brought forward a little bit more woody character. This one's decent. It's not blowing my mind. The flavors are kind of muddled, and like I said earlier in the review, like nothing really stands out. It's not changing very much. There's not much change from sip to sip. It kind of stays about the same, and the flavors are good. It's not overly complex. You know, it's kind of like I said, that same few flavor notes all the way across the palate. So it's good. It's solid, easy to drink. I'm gonna give it straight 80. I think it's good whiskey. Not blowing my mind, but definitely drinkable and good. So let's see what it is. This is Elijah Craig Small Batch. Cool. Good whiskey. And I've always thought this was a solid whiskey, but let me go grab that bottle and we'll talk about it a little bit more. All right, we just finished the review of Elijah Craig Small Batch. This is a 47% alcohol, 94 proof, which I think we were pretty close on that again. This, unfortunately, no longer has an age statement. As most of you know, a couple years back, Elijah Craig removed the 12-year age statement from their small batch. And allegedly, they did that for the reason that they wanted to be able to keep the age statement on the barrel-proof version of the whiskey, because they're just whiskey supplies gotten short with the bourbon boom and people being so enthusiastic about loving bourbon and whiskeys, they weren't able to keep up with the age statement. I did hear Denny Potter, their master distiller, talking in an interview once, and he did say that I believe the Elijah Craig Small Batch is still averaging about 11 years old-ish in age. So, allegedly, it's still pretty close to that 12-year age statement on an average. But they're obviously putting some younger whiskey in there that doesn't come close to that 12-year statement. And I kind of wish they'd throw an age statement on it still, even though it's not 12 years. I mean, if it's 10 or 9, I mean, it just makes you question what are they throwing in there that they don't want to put an age statement on it. But it's still great whiskey. In this review, I gave it an 80, and I kind of think from what I normally would think of Elijah Craig Small Batch, that's a little low. And maybe that this bottle needs a little bit of time to open up a touch. Not that it's a high proof whiskey, but I feel like a lot of the flavors I normally get on this whiskey weren't coming up and coming forward and kind of revealing themselves here. It just stayed very deep and dark, and it was good. It just didn't open up, and that's kind of because of the way I do these reviews and that I open the bottle, pretty much right before I do the review. It is what it is. So on this one, value-wise, it's a great value for any of you that, most people that can get this whiskey. I can pick up this bottle for somewhere about $26, and that's a great value. It's 94 proof. It's still got a high age on it, and it's fantastic whiskey. So I definitely recommend, if you have not tried this whiskey, get out there and pick up a bottle. It's affordable and it's good, and this one would definitely fall on my list of great beginner bourbons because it's complex and flavorful. It's a good price. The proof's not too high, so it's off-putting for people who aren't used to drinking, whiskey neat. So it's a great beginner bourbon as well. So let me know what you think of Elijah Craig Small Batch, and let me know, for you guys that have been around drinking whiskey for a while, how do you think it compares to the 12-year age statement? Do you think there's a big difference? If you did them side by side blind, could you tell? I wish I could do that one for you guys, but unfortunately, I don't have a 12-year-old bottle, so that's not what I'm going to be able to do. Maybe I can swap samples with somebody and get that done for you guys, but for the time being, I don't have one to do. So anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. If you haven't already, follow me on Instagram and Twitter at blind_reviews. You can send me an email at blindwhiskeyreviews, that's whiskey with an E, @gmail.com. And until next time, guys, cheers.